Hi guys, it's Carolyn with Crafting with Wine, and as you can see here on my Cricut Design Space virtual mat, I'm in the process of getting ready to make a dog tag. And what I'm doing is this little metal dog tag that I have purchased a package of. Actually, it's white on the front because it's got sublimation material on there, so I can sublimate it, which is what I'm going to do. But the back shows the silver metal, and I'm going to engrave the dog's name on the back of this. And obviously the dog's name is Dilly, and I'm going to do all of this in Cricut Design Space. And today I'm going to use my Cricut Explore Air to do this. I also have the Amy Chalmers, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing Chalmers wrong, engraving tool, which is right here. And when you go over to her site to order these engraving tools, if you choose to order one, make sure you're buying it for your correct machine. She has them for the Silhouette, and then you have a different one for the Cricut Explore 1, and then a different one for the Cricut Explore Air machines. And this one here is for my Explore Air. It won't, I have an Explore 1 too, and it won't fit in that one, but it does fit in my Air. So before we get started, I guess I can show you how to install this. So let me move you over for a second, and I'll pause so I don't make anybody dizzy. Okay, when you on your Air or your Explorer models besides the one, you have two cartridge carriers. You have A and you have B. We're going to do this under the A, and this, you open up your clamp and kind of support the clamp itself while you push up from the bottom, and it's a little difficult, and you got to pop out this holder, because this holds your pins and your stylus and so forth. This doesn't work with the engraving tool. So we're going to come over and just put it in and close the clamp, and it'll have a nice snug fit. It should not move at all. It will fit very snugly in there. So now we've got that done. So let's go back over to our computer screen, and I'll go into a little more detail about the images I've put up on the screen. Okay, the first thing that I did was I went out and found a dog bone tag, and I just did insert images, and I did a search for dog bone tag. Now, I needed to measure my dog bone tag that I have here, and that's what I did. I measured it with my ruler, and my particular tag, it's small. It's 1 1/4 inches wide by 3/4 of an inch tall or high, and that measurement is within the area that I want to engrave, here to here and into the center of the bone of my tag. So then I have sized this correctly over into my edit panel. So let me click on my dog bone tag, and we'll go over here, and you can see in the edit panel. Let me see if I can zoom you in so you can see that a little better. You see here I have it at 1 1/4 wide by 0.75 inches high. So I have it done perfectly. Obviously that comes over on my screen so small that my old eyes can't see it. So what I have done is I've just zoomed my screen in really large so I can see to work with it. And I have typed in the name of Dilly. This is the name of one of my granddogs, and and I already have the font to Engravers MT font. because I think it's clear and easy to read, and especially since it's going to be so small when we get done engraving it, it will be perfect and very legible. So now what I'm going to do, I'm not going to touch the sizing of my dog bone at all. I'm going to move my word dilly over onto my bone. I'm going to resize it, play with it on here. To see if I can get it to look right. And right there, I'm kind of liking that placement. I may move it over to the left slightly. Yes, and I like that much better. As you can see, it looks pretty well centered up on my tag. So that's where we're going to, that's what I'm going to do at this point. Now, the very next thing that we need to do is go over here to our layers panel. And on my layers panel, right now, you can see Dilly is set to cut because it has scissors by it. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to change it to score. You want it to score, because that tells, when you score or write, it automatically tells our machine that we are going to be using clamp A, and we have to use clamp A. So now I've done that, so I'll click off of that, and you can see that it turned Dilly just a real pale white of an outline, which is perfect because now I know what it's going to do. Now the very next thing that we have to do here is highlight or select both my dog tag and my word Dilly, and I want to hit attach over here on my layers panel. So now it attached them together. And I know for a fact they've been attached together because when we look over here on our layers panel, now we don't have two separate sets of something. We have them together. Now, another thing that I like to do, because people complain all the time that when they engrave, it's not engraving in the position that they put it in the mat and it's off skelter. And it can be, and it will be every time if you don't do your due diligence. And here's what I like to do. I'm going to line this up over here on my mat. Right now I am zoomed in so bad at 175%, so I'm going to zoom out to 100% here for a second. I'm going to move all of my tabs and layers over so that I can see. And I'm going to place my bone up here on my mat. And right now I have the very edge of my bone at the 2-inch mark. It sits very level on the 2-inch mark, and I have the bottom of my bone setting very level on the 2-inch mark. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is grab my little bone tag, and just to make sure that it holds in place, I'm just going to run my tape runner on here just real fast to lay it down a level, or just a piece of tape. It's not going to hurt anything. And then what I'm going to do, and ignore my mat, I'm going to take you over to my mat real fast. My mat's kind of dirty and messed up, and my desk is very dirty and messed up. That's a sign of a busy crafter, right? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line on my mat, and I'm going to find my 2-inch mark, which is right here. and right here is 2 inches over, and I am going to line that up exactly on my mat right there. Okay, so I've got it on my mat just the way I want it, exactly where I want it to be on my mat. Now we're going to go back over to the computer screen real fast, and what we're going to do here, so that everything stays the way that it needs to be, is I am going to what I'm going to do is insert a square. Got my square come up. I'm going to change the color of my square, just any old color, it doesn't matter. It's just so I can see it. I'm going to move my square to the back so that I can see my image. I'm not going to touch my bone. I've got my bone exactly where I want it. You don't touch it. Now I'm going to select everything on the mat, excuse me, and hit attach. Now, what that does is keeps everything in place, and it'll come over on my cut screen exactly in that exact position. But I don't want to cut my square, nor do I want to cut my dog bone. I want to engrave dilly is all I want to do. So over in the layers tab, I'm just going to hide the dog bone, and I'm going to hide the square, and dilly stayed on my screen. Now I'm going to hit go. I'm coming over to my virtual mat. Here, let me see. Let me play with zooming in. I'm going to pause you just so we can zoom in so you can see it all real well, because everything's so faint and white, and I don't want to make you sick playing with the camera. Okay, I think that's the best I can zoom you in without so much glare. But right here, I don't know if you can see or not, is dilly. And it's sitting right on that 2 line and right up above the 2 line as well, which is perfect because I set my bone right there, if you remember. So what we're going to do is go over to our go, and just so you know, I've got my Cricut machine dialed to custom right now. So that's what we're going to do. Here, let me zoom you out so it's not so... See, this is why I pause to zoom, because it gets all shaky. I'm going to hit go. And it has come up, and I have mine set on custom materials at chipboard heavy, which is 0.7 millimeters, and that's the way I'm going to keep it. So let me get my mat loaded, and I will come right back and show you while it engraves some. And there you can see it engraving. It went a lot faster than I expected. But I didn't put it on my mat exactly right either. So you got to be careful of that. It's gone one pass, but I'm going to hit the Cricut symbol again and have it to make a second pass. So you have to be exactly precise when you're placing the image on your mat. Or not the image, I'm sorry, your material on your mat. And then we'll unload it, and it is very off-centered. And there we go. It engraved it very, very well. And if I'd have put it on my mat a little better I know exactly what I did wrong. I measured from the ends of the bones here and not where I was wanting it to engrave. And if I'd have done that, it would have been just fine. So we'll see. I'll have pictures. Actually, I'm going to do it again off camera and have pictures at the end of showing you when you actually measure it properly. So I'll be back in a few moments. And here's the other one that I did, and you can see I got the spacing pretty well worked out. It looks good. It says Marley on this one, and it's all about where you place the material on your mat, and you have to know exactly where it's going to start that score line, which is actually our engraving point. Now, just a little tidbit of information that I'll do and have it done on camera, or won't do on camera. If you just take some men's black shoe polish, rub it in there real well with a soft cloth, it'll make the letters stand out and be black, and then just wipe it off and clean it up with a baby wipe without getting down into the engraving grooves. So it'll turn out very well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Make a comment if you have any questions, and share, please. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Have a great day. Cheers.